Sure, all of you guys have heard about the Epstein files, and we have a child trafficking rescuer today going to be talking to us about more about what has been going on under our noses. Ray, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here.
This topic is really challenging for a lot of people, and it's mainly
Yeah.
because we have, if you're a human being, a true human being, you actually have a heart, and you cannot, fa like for myself, I couldn't fathom the amount of evil that is in this world. And when we start to get stories like this, it really does something to the psyche because it's hard to really fathom. But you've been doing this work for a very long time. So I'd love to hear how you got started in this. What was the impetus to get you to become a rescuer, and how long do you think this has been going on?
Hmm. Well, first of all, it's been going on. It's really as long as humanity's existed, really, in some form or another. I
Mhm.
mean, because if you boil it all down, I mean, it's human slavery,
Mhm.
in every way. Um, and so I've always had a heart for the underserved. It seems, and have always looked for, uh, an angle to be in that position to make a difference in people's lives. And it started with youth, uh, with me actually. And as far as trafficking goes, I didn't know a lot about it. I was around it, and I experienced it, but didn't know that it was such. It was worldwide. I did not know that it was a multi-billion-dollar criminal enterprise. And I was in youth ministry, my first experience with this actually, and I had, God would use me to reach really kids that were rejected from society a lot, and but they would be drawn to me, and I to them, and that's the way it was. And so, as a youth pastor, my first experience was uh, a gang member actually of a mainstream gang in part of North Carolina that became a part of our youth at church. And it was a great beginning with him and his brother as well. But he did get back involved in the game and gang and began recruiting uh, in the youth ministry that uh, that I was in charge of. There was a young girl who started coming there as well, and he would start grooming them. He was grooming them with gifts, and he was what was called a set king, and so he could call the shots, tell somebody in that gang, "Hey, I need 5 pairs of sneakers" or something like that. And so he was grooming through gifts with the young boys and the young girls in there. One of the girls ran away from her home. They were not able to find her, and I got a tip that uh, his name was, let's call him Jay. And I got a tip that that's where the young lady had been, and that he was going to be taking her to Atlanta to sell her. And this was probably like 1996, 97, somewhere around there. And sure enough, based upon the tips, we were able to confront him at the last stop he was making before he headed to Atlanta. And we had called the police too there. And uh, we got out, to stop them. He actually attempted to run over me. He was in the car. I was outside. And, but he threw the car in reverse and as fast as he could go, but he was going at the dead end of a street doing that. He didn't know it. So he got arrested, of course. And so that was my first eye-opening experience with that. And, I just thought, well, someday if I get time, I want to kind of get more into this as an advocate. You know, I never thought I'd be in this at the level that I was. So
Mhm.
years later, this is too after taking in a boy that was 14 who had been severely abused, groomed. He had 5 stepfathers by the time he was 14, and he was on his way to a juvenile prison after he had just had enough and was going into a fit of rage. And they were just going to throw him away. And I had met this boy at a camp, And so the guy in charge of that camp called me one day. He said, "I've got to lay something on you, and I've got to have the answer kind of like now." And so he had talked to the judge and asked, "If I know a guy that'll take him in and the mother will sign rights over to him, would you let him go instead of the prison?" And the judge was like, "Who are you going to find to do that?" So long story short, I just said, "Okay, I'll do it." And 2 days later, I went and got it. And so he is 43 now and a very successful young man. And what he endured was just unreal. Uh, so years go by, and I just thought, well, I'll get involved in this. I'll hand out brochures at community events, and you know, uh, just to get the word out. I was looking for something to do to just volunteer on a Saturday or something like that. And so the more I knew about it, the more I got involved. I just felt like I can't be satisfied at this level. And I was watching videos and on YouTube with Veterans for Child Rescue. I'm a Navy veteran, so I thought, well, I'll start there. And Craig Sawyer, who's the founder of that, was doing an interview with Boz El Boz, the founder of the Association for the Recovery of Children, who was starting a training program to train people how to run their own operations, investigations, do trainings, and get involved at that level and to do rescues, put teams together and do rescues. So I just decided to go, and uh, God just started opening doors for me. Bottom line, after that, and that's how I met Awake and
That's true.
Bold. And I was blown away by it. Really, I'd gone to this training, and which there's no other training like that. And if anybody wants to ever get involved at this level, that's the training you need to go to, and that's the Association for the Recovery of Children. And uh, so the doors just started to swing open. That's how I met Awake and Bold, and they had contacted me. They were doing an event
Mhm.
where Boz Boz with Recovery of Children was going to be there as a speaker, and he's a former CIA agent, retired uh, Marine Corps counterterrorism expert, and also he was a co-actor on the Blacklist on Netflix. If anybody like this, it's a great series. Um, and I was going to
It's
set
called
up a
Blacklist.
the Blacklist. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
great series. Um, and I was going to set up a table there with information for awareness to get the word out more. And I was a strategic partner at that time too, and volunteer with Veterans for Child Rescue. So I was setting up, information with, for them too. And so I'm a strategic partner with them both now. And so ended up Boz was not going to be able to make it, and they asked me if I would stand in for him. And my first answer was absolutely not. My gosh, they're looking for Boswell Boz, not Brian Prather. Uh, a former actor. His resume is very impressive, and he's a warrior. I mean, he's been downrange more than the average veteran, and he's just
Mhm.
an amazing man. He and his wife are just awesome people. And but I ended up doing it, and it worked. It worked out okay. One thing led to the other after these town hall type events that Awaken Bold puts on, which one is
Mhm.
coming up in March as
That's
well.
right.
It always opens up another door, and so I began to get calls on tips. People that were concerned there was trafficking going on in the Asheville area, and the first one I got actually ended up being a human slavery uh, operation that was operating out of a home, and there were two large vans that were picking up uh, Asians out of this home, and they had those bedrooms piled with, they're picking up about 30 people twice, once a day, and bring early in the morning and bringing them back late at night. And they were working in restaurants, and so that ended up getting dealt with through a task force from a detective that we had contacted. And one thing that's common when people do call these, and they don't want police involved at all. They don't want their name involved in it, and so we've been able to protect that. Once the right people get a hold of it, to shut it down. Their concerns mainly are for the victims and taking down the people who are responsible for this. So
Mhm.
that works out. Not all of the tips work out to be something to be legit, but we're glad that they call. If you think you see it, make the call. Let people that are trained to do this determine whether it's legit or not.
Mhm.
And,
And who would
and
they
we can.
call? Who would they call?
Well, I would call Association for the Recovery of Children. That's who I would look up and call.
Okay.
Veterans for Child Rescue. And also, I mean, if you see something going on right there, right away, of course, call 911. Use that too. Uh, most law enforcement wants to do something about this.
Mhm.
I know people have the media doesn't do us any favors when it comes to law enforcement, but the majority of the ones that I meet are sincere. They want to do more. Now, law enforcement I mean, they are understaffed, uh, and in some ways untrained because they are understaffed. But doesn't mean they don't care. They've been very helpful, uh,
Mhm.
with me, uh, and with others. And so we try to develop relationships, with law enforcement too. But I have to say, the vast majority will do everything they can to take a predator down and to save a victim. And that's when we can come in as well and get that person on a path to become a survivor and not just be left off as a victim. And
Mhm.
that's part of, what we do as well. We have contacts, safe housing, long-term healing, uh, path, particular program that I like the best, that I use the most. And I've been able to help place 7 women in uh, these places. And it's 2-year live a residential program, and they do it right. It's not something that you can heal from, going someplace for 30 days,
Yeah.
so that's part of the process too. And it's something that just continues to increase. When that kind of money is involved, I mean, it's pay to play now,
Mhm.
especially with the Epstein, uh, that model of trafficking kicked things way up on the financial on the financial board. The average pimp, if he has 4 girls, 4 ladies, and look, there's boys involved in this too, and males, uh, to doing this right. Uh, those 4, uh, rotating and doing what they do, that pimp is averaging $2 million a year. And then that's tax free. That's tax free money as well. I mean, the criminal enterprise is estimated at $152 million. Uh, Now, 52 billion. I mean, 52 billion of that is from the United States. We're the largest purchasers of that. We're the largest purchaser of that. We're the largest producers of porn,
Mhm.
and also minutes spent searching porn, all in the United States. We lead all of that, and porn is a
Mhm.
huge fuel
Mhm.
for all of this. Um, and the money, if there's a request out there, it doesn't matter what that request is for. There's somebody that will provide that request, which I mean includes ages all the way down to infants. Uh, the increase for younger continues to grow. The increase for young boys continues to grow, and it's not slowing down, one bit.
Do you think there's an answer to how to fix this? Because I absolutely agree. In that one documentary, name is escaping me, that movie that was out that was disclosed a lot of this, literally said that the United States is the largest
Yeah,
purchaser of this issue. This
yeah.
demon. I think it's demons. I think we don't understand this world, and because
You're right.
people who have hearts, like we cannot fathom the absolute evil that's been taking place right under our nose, like I said earlier. Do you think there's an answer to how to stop this? Because this has been going on, I think, since the beginning of time, since the humans were
Absolutely.
humans.
Yes. Yeah.
Since we do you think there's an answer to how to fix this? Because it is prevalent, and I think it's also a part of the brainwashing of people. Like I was
Yes.
watching something on, there was a cartoon on Netflix, and I looked at it, and it was the devil's daughter runs this hotel.
Mm.
And I was like, what are they showing children? And I watched it for one episode, and I couldn't believe it because they had this little child, this cartoon, redheaded, freckled little boy who was horny. And I was like, oh my gosh. And the amount of
Wow.
things they had in this cartoon was not for children. And it shouldn't even be for, it shouldn't be for adults. It should not have been on at all. But that kind of grooming is
Wow.
what we're
Yeah.
dealing with, is what we're dealing with. So,
Yeah.
what would you say to that?
Well, you bring up a good point with media. It is desensitized.
Mhm.
It has desensitized us so much that, okay, yeah, it's important. It's a big deal, but is it personally a big deal? Is it a big deal
Mhm.
to everyone personally? No, it's not. Uh, People will look the other way too easy on this. I often I use the phrase "stop unseeing it," a lot. And the first, that's what we have to do is to stop unseeing this. It it's going on every community, neighborhood, every demographic. Uh, it's going on. At the very core, yes, it is demonic. It is satanic. It is gross, beyond our imaginations or beyond what anybody else would think. I talk to people all the time that say, "Oh, I had no idea that was going on around here." Well, yeah, I mean, it does, and it is. How do we stop it? I think, let's talk about let's talk about rescue, for instance. That word rescue, and then we see, the movies and the films, and that's great if it increases an awareness, or something like that. But rescue is not just the end result. It's not just that final step where that person has been brought out and they're free from that now, and we can get on with their new life and a path of healing. It starts first by getting involved at some level, um, and doing something. I started out wanting to pass out brochures at trade shows or whatever, just to set up. That matters. You
Mhm.
know, that starts too. You don't have to be boots on the ground, but there's a big need for boots on the ground as well. Awareness is one thing, but awareness doesn't save anybody. It's
Mhm.
it's like the movies. That's great. Uh, but I would say for the majority of people that went and saw that movie, they felt great. They saw that movie. They had a new level of knowledge about it. Uh, but what did that translate to?
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, Boz Bosman brought up a good point in an interview that he brought up. Remember the milk cartons when they would put missing
Hmm.
children on the milk cartons, and so we buy that milk because it's got the missing child on it, and that makes us feel good, about that. But has it ever led to a child being found and rescued? No, it
Hmm.
has not. There's no evidence of that. So awareness in and of itself, is not it. And just like thinking of rescue as a whole big package or that final step as being, part of, well, that's just it. That's the whole thing. Well, it's not. One thinking of one child. If you can get in the way and stop one child, one woman, one boy, one man from being caught up in this, in a lot of cases just lose their life. That's the last time they live, and they're at lifespans about 7 years in that. But if you can get in the way, just in some way, step in the way. I'm not sure what my boy's life would have been like had I not, but I know what it's like because I did. And really, I had no clue what I was doing. People told me I was crazy. I'm taking in this boy that was on his way to a juvenile prison. And at 14, this boy never gave me a bit of trouble. I mean, not a bit. Uh, he wanted to be loved. He
Hmm.
needed somebody, and he absorbed every bit of it. He blessed me more than than he got for me. He gave me just as much. And can you take in a child? are you available to take in a child? Can your home be a safe place for someone that we may need temporary housing for? I have a friend that's done that, and we were able to provide that for a mother and her child who had been brought up in a very sick sexual satanic cult. Children of God cult, actually, it's the name of it. Go figure.
What is it? What's the
Children
name
of
again?
God,
Children of
Children
God.
of God cult. Yeah,
Children
and
of God.
in fact, they're
Which
still around. I
God?
know.
Which God? That's the question.
Exactly. Well, they claim the same one that evangelicals would worship, but of course it's not.
Mm.
And they are safe now, and they actually ended up needing to leave the country, which they did. But so there was a person uh, in North Carolina that has her place set up to where she can accommodate that. It's not something she does all the time, but if the situation is right, she does. So can you know, they're retired single people, retired couples, uh, females that can take in other, females, and it's a safe place for them. Can you do that? That matters. That's part of the whole
Mm.
package too. It doesn't have to be, well, I've got to get involved in this and be able to go and do rescues. Rescues are not just, going and storming a door, down and, getting in there, an undercover operation, and all of that. That's not the only, kind that happens. And of course, they're all necessary. Uh, but getting involved at some level is how we begin to stop it. Uh, it continues to grow. It's growing faster than people that are getting involved in this. And so, we need help at every level.
So if somebody's able to help, tell me that website again. I went to look it up. Association for
Uh,
it was
you can look up recoveryofchildren.org
Recovery of Children.
or recoveryofchildren.com, either one.
So you guys, this is where to go. And this is Association for the Recovery of Children.
Yes, and they have a training schedule there. They're in Dallas this week, I think, and that's that is the well, it's only training like that. That's where I would get involved if you're going to do training. You can also look up your state, your local area. Just Google uh, a search for anti-trafficking organizations and get involved at a local level if you can. But as far as training goes, this is the place to go right here.
Okay.
And listen, if there's a need for a rescue, a team can be put together and deploy very fast uh, to anywhere, in the United States. They've also done they'll do some internationally as well. Uh, and these are all volunteers. A lot of veterans involved in this work as well, but non-veterans too. You don't have to be a veteran. It can be anybody. There's women and men involved in this. In fact, there's some women that are doing incredible work in this, especially Boz's wife, Tina. Um, they just do incredible work and have been at this since I think like 1993, somewhere around there. And
Wow.
that's long. And his story, he had actually got burdened for this when he was in on the Black Hawk Down operation. Actually, you remember the movie
Black
of
Hawk
that?
Down?
Yeah. And
Mhm.
so during that operation, they discovered a couple of girls that were, they're in a situation where they're, pinned down there actually. So they were able to find these girls after they did their mission in that operation and were able to get them to an orphanage. That's where he discovered what a problem this was and never looked back. And so that's how Association for the Recovery of Children got started. And then Veterans for Child Rescue, they do a lot of sting operations right now too, and they are out of Arizona. Craig Sawyer was a former SEAL Team 6 member who founded that, and they also can deploy teams, for rescues, and there's a lot of information on both of these. They've been very instrumental in helping me. Uh, and once you go through the training with ARC, that's what we call them. You go through training with them, You become part of a network of teams that you can get the help that you need anywhere that that it's needed. And like I say, they'll ARC especially can deploy a team really fast. Very experienced people that have been downrange, uh, and so yeah, know who to call, uh, reach out to, learn the signs, learn the signs. You can look at this, look at Recovery of Children's website, and just study the signs. The more you study, if you study the signs enough, you're going to recognize something somewhere when you're out in public.
What are
Uh,
some of the signs?
Here's a good example. I've got a few actually. An elderly man, white elderly man, at a bus stop with a young Hispanic kid, man and a boy. That looks odd. I was doing security in a parking lot one time. There was a pickup truck parked. I walked over to see it's a private property. I was asked to look to keep an eye on that property. And so there's a man in the pickup truck with a young boy there. They were not the same race. Asked him if I could help him. He said he's just trying to get hooked up to the internet. That's a lie. And he began to drive off. And so yeah, I got police on the phone. I don't know if they ended up pulling the guy over. He was able to get away from me. Uh, the ones at the bus stop, I call police. But I have I have officers that I have a relationship with. I have their cell phone number. If I call them with something like that, they're going to try to get on it. The outcome of
Mhm.
that, either one of those, I don't really know. Uh, but I made the call. I was in a parking lot at a mall when I was actually across the street from the mall parking lot. I hear a really loud scream that didn't sound right, and I heard it again. So I drove across the road over to the parking lot. There's a young lady being drugged by her hair and forced into a car. This is happening while other people are watching. There are other people that actually just watched this happen. Nobody tried to intervene. Uh, and there was a guy that uh, yells at me, telling me somebody needs to do something. Why aren't you? It's my first thought. So, of course, I get on the phone right away, 911. I threw my car in park real quick because I was going to intervene. And so he takes off. Well, I followed him. I followed him. He tried to lose me through parking lots, everything he could to lose me. And so I stayed with him with the police on the line. They're trying to talk me into backing off. And I was like, that's not going to happen. So, and you don't have to do that. If you're following somebody and you saw that happen, you don't have to back off. You stay with them, you know, be a, don't hurt yourself or somebody else, but do what you can to stay with them as much as if you can. And I was able to do that without endangering anyone. And so they did end up getting them uh, pulled over, several police cars. They the first one was a female officer. She got out and man, she did her job and she took action. And so yeah, they had him surrounded. And he got out of that car too. There was also an infant in that car. Uh, he took an infant out of the back seat. I had told them I backed off. They told me to. And they said, "Now you really need to back off." I said, "Okay, I am," but I really didn't. Kind of at a little bit of a distance. But they did their job. Again, I don't know the outcome of all that. So when I get involved, I just want to disappear. I've done my job. I don't need any recognition or anything like that. And and you want to be careful with that too. You don't do this alone. There are some out there that rogue warriors claiming they're doing a lot, and they really aren't. You want to be aware of that. Uh, there are organizations that are taking in a lot of money that are nonprofits, saying that they're doing a lot, and they aren't. Uh, Many that claim they have safe housing, uh, they don't. There was a situation with Boz and Tina. Tina had rescued a girl out of, I believe it was Orange County, California. Uh, she had contacted 42 places, I think it was, who claimed to provide safe housing. She visited every one of those, and not a single one of those had safe housing. And so you want to be careful who you're getting involved with, even if you Google your search at a local area where you live,
Mhm.
and uh, you want to verify what they say they are doing. And because they literally went to 40, all of those, and not a single one had those. So be mindful of
Unbelievable.
where you are, yeah, where you're sending that to. And then with the money, the movie that had come out, uh you know people started wanting to help in some way, yeah.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden you've got organizations popping up everywhere all of a sudden. Well, we're doing this for
Hmm.
it, and got to really be careful with that. These two organizations I gave you are legit. And
Yeah, they look
uh
pretty legit right there. And then also
yeah,
there's I want to share and you guys, I am at a farm, so we do have chickens. But this is the
yeah, it's great.
Awake and Bold event that's
Yeah,
happening. And this
yeah,
is happening March 7th and 8th, and it
yeah,
is in Hendersonville, North Carolina.
yes.
So
Hmm.
you guys can go to awakenbold.org is
Yeah,
the
they are wonderful.
website.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And go ahead.
you're going to
I
have
can.
Kathy O'Brien there.
Yes.
107 is going to be there, and some other people, a lot of
Yeah.
other people are going to be
Yeah.
there. And I think they're going to have
Great.
me
Yeah.
zooming in for my book, The Death of Freedom,
Yes,
to
you are.
explain what's
Yeah.
happening with
Yeah.
America and how to save it. How to save it is exactly what you're saying. Get involved.
Yeah.
Get
Yes.
involved. Even if it's sending just an email to your legislator,
Yeah, I was
you
going to
know,
get to that too. Yeah,
go
it
ahead.
matters. Yeah. Yeah. Call them, send them emails, write
Mhm.
them letters. We need that.
Mhm.
That's all a part of it too. Every little part that you can get involved, even if it's just a small part, that small
Mhm.
part is huge,
It
because
is.
that small part is a step that leads to the large parts,
Mhm.
that we can do.
A lot of
And
small parts is the foundation. We have to have a foundation.
that's
So,
right.
mhm.
Yeah, Melissa's trying to call in on me now. Is my screen still right?
Yeah, you're still good.
Okay. Yeah, let me speak to Awake and Bold too, about them. They are amazing. Listen, I've never met a group of women this committed uh, to the cause. I owe a lot to them as well. They got me started. I wouldn't have gone. I wouldn't have been able to intervene in a lot of lives that I've been able to intervene had it not been for them too, because that's where calls have come in, and tips. And then I do other things to get involved in the community out there. I've developed relationships with drug dealers out there, homeless people that can be very resourceful and what's going on in the area where I live at. And it's amazing what uh what a fast food meal from McDonald's or cookout will get me sometimes. And my experience with homeless people has has really been beneficial,
Mhm.
to me. And
Yeah, well,
so
they're kind of the unseen force. A lot of times people just
they
ignore
are.
them,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they
yeah.
see everything. They see a lot of things people don't really
They do.
give them
And
credit
there's
for.
yeah, you're right. And
Hmm.
there's a lot of trafficking going on there, and
Yeah.
and some of them. And I've helped a couple of ladies get off of the street that were in there because of just going, especially during the winter when the temperature is dropping below freezing. I'll keep jackets in my car, hand warmers, uh, uh, a sack lunch or something like that. And it's amazing amazing what one simple question, when's the last time you ate, had something to eat. That's been the most important question, the most effective question that has worked for me. Most of the time, that starts a tear down the face. And so I'm able to get them something to eat. I try to get them something warm to eat when that happens. That's really led to a couple of very significant rescues, and there are some that just fall apart too. I'll tell you about one of those where we were we were set up to do this rescue. Would have been in the downtown area. So the pimp was dropping one of his girls off at the methadone clinic, to take care of her. They control them a lot by drugs, the addiction,
Hmm.
and then they take care of them too. A smart pimp is really going to take care of their girls, keep them looking good if he really wants to make a lot of money. He was also paying the mortgage on the her mother's home, as well. So, in total control of this. Uh, there were no police called, you know, not from any of us, but as far as we knew, she had only talked to me and one other lady. And so we made the arrangements. I put it together to pick her up at the methadone clinic because he was dropping her off. Somehow somebody got tipped off. He did. Somebody tipped him off. We don't know who. Uh, and it may have been through I don't know, voice tap somehow. I don't know. But she called and had to call it off. He found out and he beat her, really bad. And so, yeah, we had to call it off. I've never been able to speak to her again. So, I don't know what happened. Traffickers, the cartels, mainstream gangs, they are very tech savvy. They're not all tattooed up
Yeah,
and look like a lot of them. They look like me or you. You know,
that's right.
women, especially women, are involved in grooming, and they're very very clever, very good. I've had two situations where these girls, one was a teenager, the other one was an adult lady. Their best their best friends tricked them into getting trafficked. The 15-year-old was able to. Now I staked this house out for a few nights. I knew I was on the right house based upon the tips that I was getting and everything lined up, but I was still never able to put eyes on the girl, even though we know she's in that house now. Well, so why don't we get police and go storm that house? Here's the problem. If she's not in that house, she's somewhere else. Okay. So, and I thought about going to the door and as a pizza delivery person, I was going to go buy a pizza, and I'll go to the door and see if she's in there. They open the door, maybe I can see her or something, and just tell them I have the wrong address. So, importantly, in doing this work, because like I mentioned before, people that claim to just be rogue and on their own and taking this down, it's not wise. You've got to have a
Yeah.
team. You don't do this by yourself.
No.
So
Yeah. It's very dangerous work.
yeah, yeah. So I called somebody and said, should I do this? They absolutely not. One mistake, you get that girl killed or that boy, whoever it is, and because they're that ruthless, they really are.
Yeah. They don't
And
care.
yeah, and so Paul didn't do that. So they were moving this girl from this house to a hotel, Red Roof Inn. Red Roof Inns are popular for this. So I tried to see if I could put eyes on her at the Red Roof Inn as well. I just never could put eyes on her. Fortunately, she was able to walk away, and state police saw her on the highway and picked her up, and she was good, from
Oh,
there.
she actually rescued herself. She walked out.
She was able to walk
Oh,
away.
wow.
Yeah. The other one was just a couple of months ago. This is an adult lady. Now, that teenager was tricked out by her friends saying, "Hey, meet us up the street. We got cigarettes." They were going to smoke some cigarettes, and they had there was a mainstream gang member that was part of who picked them all up, and they were actually going to sell her to a cartel in California, in L.A., Orange County.
Mm.
Uh, so yeah, she was smart enough to get away. The other situation was an adult lady, 33 years old, her best friend for years. Uh, hey, you want to meet me and my boyfriend and just go hang out kind of thing. And they trapped her in a hotel. So well, it's kind of a hotel setup, but for some reason they weren't thinking they were going to go to the store. They said and pick some stuff up. You wait here, kind of thing. Well, she didn't wait there. So if that's ever you, you're somebody that's listening to this, you see a way to get out, you get out. You get out and you
Mm.
run to somebody as quick as you can. You make lots of noise and get some help. Don't think that you have to stay trapped there.
Mhm.
These people are very clever. They're brainwash, they control,
Manipulative. Yeah.
manipulative.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
You trust your guided intuition. That's what I always say. So if you're feeling something's
yeah,
off, it's off.
yeah,
You are
yeah. It is.
correct.
Yeah, and that's just one form of that.
Mhm.
Then there's the professional type grooming too. There's the boyfriends that will have have their girlfriend. They groom their girlfriend and set them up, for this whole thing. They'll videotape them, having sex, and then use that sextortion type technique. Um, High school students are using this, and texting photos back and forth to each other. There are so many ways to get trapped. And, then how many, then we see on the news about these young kids taking their own lives because
Yeah,
they
it's
were
really
going
sad.
to, yeah, they threatened them, use these photos. If you don't do this for me, then everybody's going to see these and have taken their lives. And so they'll use that. Now you're going to make some money for me. And and there are pimps that have their girls turn. You'll read some, 7 to 10 men a day, but it goes as high as 60.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We've read reports of that, and so there's and now we're seeing the files, the Epstein files, so you can see there's no limit to how dark this gets. You know, the Bible speaks of as in the days of Noah. Well, I wondered, well, we still have kind of a long ways to go before we get to the days of Noah until I started seeing the opening of these Epstein files. And boy, we are. How does it get worse? I don't know. I had one call from a construction worker on the coast, and he was inside of a home, a very nice home on the Carolina coast. He wasn't able to send me any photos or anything like that because the house had video cameras in it. He described photos to me of the owners of this home with Epstein,
Oh wow.
and one was of, and this is what he's telling me. I have no reason to doubt this man. He had nothing to gain by calling me and telling me this. But they were holding a chicken over top of a child. The head was cut off of the chicken and dripping the blood on this child. And so, of course, we contacted authorities on that and at least reported it. He had some other information that
Did he have an
that,
address? Did he
uh,
for the house?
he did, yes, yeah. So
Oh,
I called
that's
that, yeah, yeah. I
great.
called the county that it was in to let them know. Now, whatever happened from that, I have no idea. Uh, but yeah, and this is the first time I've ever shared that story on an interview. Actually, yeah, it's that bad.
That's the other thing too, is I have not seen some of the videos of Epstein, but my friend has. He said that Epstein had some type of um, disformity for eating, for cannibalism, and that's the other thing too that people don't
Yeah,
understand. I mean, this is
yeah,
how evil this is. Like we can't even
yeah,
fathom the
yeah,
the, the depth of and evil doesn't even feel like it feels like there should be a stronger word than evil because it's so
yeah,
it's so intense.
yeah. And I don't have a word for it, and I think most people are not going to believe that. They don't believe
That's
it. They
right.
don't believe it's that bad, because people won't even believe it's that bad in their state or in their
Yeah.
city. Well, of course, surely it's not that bad here. Yeah, it is. And
Yeah.
so
My
to
friend, yeah.
get to get
I
them
was
to believe at this level, I don't think they do.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I have a friend of mine who is in Sedona, Arizona, and she was like, she couldn't believe that it was happening there. And these upscale areas, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. So when I was
Yeah.
researching my book, The Death of Freedom, What Happened to America and How to Save It, I wanted to also add the satanic symbolisms that
Yes.
is
Yeah. Yeah.
everywhere. It's
Yeah.
everywhere. It's in architecture. It's
Yeah.
in the way the streets are designed. It's in the
Yeah.
Vatican all over the place. But
Yes.
I didn't add this to the Death of Freedom because there was so much information that I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, this is a whole nother book. So
Yeah.
I'm going to be writing a book called The Hidden Cult of Governments: How the Devil
Yeah.
Runs Nations
Nice.
and how to stop him. And how to stop him, I feel, is from our own heart frequency, from our guided intuition, doing the work that we're doing. And like there's a reason why you were guided to do this work.
Yeah.
Like each one of us is guided to do something following that guided intuition. That guided intuition comes from something greater than us. And I think that that's what's going to protect us too. When we follow that guided intuition, something's setting the path for us. And I
Yeah.
think that's where where it stops, but it has to come from
Yeah.
people waking up and seeing what the heck is going on and then doing
Yeah.
exactly, if you see something, say something, even if it's not,
Yes.
that's what's really important. It's like sometimes people see something and they go, oh no, that can't be happening. That's not
Yeah.
really what I see,
Yeah.
and yeah, it is really what you see. So
Yes.
follow
Yeah,
your,
it
and
is.
there's,
Yeah. Yes,
yeah,
it's too easy to say that and just like or that mindset. I don't need to get involved in that. Yes, you do.
yes,
You
you
definitely
do.
need to get involved in that.
There's
So
a reason. Yeah.
it's as far as kids getting abducted, that's starting to increase now. We
Hmm.
of course there's that 44% approximately that where the abuse and then the trafficking starts within the family or somebody that's close to the family where
Yeah,
it
that's
started.
right.
But now we're starting to see an increase in the abduction rate now because look, there's a lot of money in this. People
Lots.
get rich off this. There was an attempt to abduct an infant in Western North Carolina. The lady that was attempting to do that ended up telling police she was going to get $25,000 for that infant. Just
That is so
quick.
disgusting. There's like
Go,
there's a
yeah.
price on that. That is
Yes.
just like that's
Yeah.
the other thing too, is the money thing, because we can actually live, and people, we used to live without money. And
Yeah.
like when
Exactly.
being on a
Yeah.
farm, I
Yeah.
live off grid and there's bartering, and we can actually live without money. And people
Yeah.
just, we just have to learn how to do it again. And it's
Right.
not, it's like doing the right thing versus losing, because not only you're going to get $25,000, what's that going to do to your soul doing something
Exactly.
like that?
They don't see past that.
Because you are
Um,
not the same again. You just did something
never.
horrendous to
Never.
another
Yeah.
living, not only another living soul, but a child.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that is something that is beyond, again, beyond evil. So
Yeah.
I could keep talking to you forever, but I do have another
Sure.
interview coming
Okay.
up. Is there any last words you want to say? And again, I do want to share the website again about
Yeah.
what's
Thank you.
happening in North Carolina. This is Awake and Bold, and you can go to their event page. So this is March 7th and 8th, and it's their event is in Henderson, North Carolina, March
Yeah.
7th and 8th. And are you going to be at this
Yeah.
event?
Yeah. So I'll be speaking at that event as well.
Okay, good. Be
And
part of the solution, preventing it.
yeah, be part of the solution. Yeah. And equip yourself, parents, equip your children, go to these websites and
Hmm.
get the information off there of how to train your kids to be aware too. Ladies,
Yes, very important.
teenagers, yeah, stop walking out of a mall, of a shopping center by yourself to your car.
Hmm.
Somebody with you, walk bold, tough, have the phone out ready, not your face in the phone. There are a lot of little things you can do to stop that potential predator
Hmm.
from taking you down. Uh, Vulnerability, especially if they know you're in a single parent home. Uh, so they're like wolves on blood popsicles, way I call it.
They
So,
watch. Yeah.
yeah, go to these websites, equip yourself, and make it harder for a predator to turn you into a victim.
Or turn your children into victim. This reminds me of when I
That's
was
right.
in a shopping center. And there was somebody who was walking behind me, and the feeling that I felt was
Mm,
like, you need to turn around and look at this man. And I turned
yeah,
around and I just looked him straight in the eyes, and then he walked away. And it was just like, because like it was something that would, and that's
good.
the other thing too, is like follow your guided intuition. And if you're watching
Yeah,
this, it's not a mistake you're watching this. So
yeah,
it is your responsibility. And if you're a parent, it's your
yeah,
kuleana, yours to do, to
yeah,
learn how to teach your children to stay safe.
yes,
And
yeah.
and
Yes, yes,
that's what we need to do right now. So
yeah,
thank you so much for joining me, Ray. I
yeah,
really appreciate your time. And let's do a quick prayer, and then
yeah,
I'll let you go.
yes,
Infinite creator of all things. Wow, we are really in a time of awakening right now. We are just so grateful for people like Ray, for his courage to stand up and to do what is right, not what is easy, but what is right and what comes from his heart. And Great Spirit, we know that there are so many more people that are doing that, that are stepping up, that are seeing what is happening to our children, the most vulnerable of us, these precious, precious children that come from you, Great Spirit, that are literally created cell by cell by you. And we now just send so much white light of love and protection around all children, around the planet, around their parents, around these rescuers, knowing that what is coming is so much better than what has been. And the evilness that has been around the world is being lit up so brightly with this white light of truth that cannot stay hidden anymore, Great Spirit. We call that forth right now. We call forth all angels around the planet to be with anybody who's being held against their will. We call forth that the light of the path to freedom is lit up so brightly and that they are protected as they are guided toward freedom, Great Spirit. We know that that is done. This evilness cannot stay hidden any longer. It is not in the shadows. It is right out in the open for all of us to see. And we say no. We say no more. We say not to our children. We call forth freedom and peace and harmony. And those people who do not value human life, who do not value the innocence of our children, that they are removed from power, that they are held accountable. We call forth accountability, Great Spirit, that not one person who has harmed a child is set free. We call forth that they are held accountable in the light, in the love, and the greatness that is of you, Great Spirit. We know that that is done. All people who are hearing this message, stepping up to doing any even small action, seeing something, saying something, or bringing in a
Mhm.
child to heal. Great Spirit, we know that that each person is here for a reason. We are the bravest of the brave to come forth and be here on the planet right now. And we call forth the knowingness that we are each guided, and we trust you, Great Spirit, and we trust our hearts that are guiding us to doing what is ours to do. Thank you so much, Great Spirit. And thank you so much for Ray. We know him and his family are always protected and he is always guided. Thank you so much, Great Spirit. And so it is. Thank you so much, Ray. Really
Thank
appreciate your
you.
time. And
Yeah, yours as well. Yeah, get involved, people. We need your help. Get involved. We
yep,
need funding as well. It costs a lot of money to these rescues and deploy
yep,
people as well. But get involved in some way, just some way.
just some way. I love it. All right, you guys, keep your children
Yeah.
safe. Learn these tips, and do your part in whatever your heart is calling you to do. So much aloha, everyone.
Thank you.